Government requests funding to boost efforts in fighting COVID-19 and stricter monitoring and screening measures implemented at the borders. It is Thursday, March 19. We have lots to tell you today. Thanks for joining us. To boost Guyana's efforts against the coronavirus, the coalition government has requested an initial $5 million loan from the World Bank under its Rapid Response Emergency Facility. The business of government continues, and the fight against the coronavirus or COVID-19 highlights this. Finance Minister Winston Jordan explained that part of the effort entails requesting additional funds from agencies such as the World Bank. This comes as President David Granger instituted constitutional powers to facilitate emergency spending.
So far, at the domestic level, the only budget agency requesting funding is the Ministry of Health, and we have disbursed to them roughly $120 million. Of which $73 million was in capital expenditure and $28.4 million was in current expenditure.
The funds are being used to equip quarantine sites at the various border points, including the international airports. Funds are also being used to purchase medical kits, gear, and equipment. The effort is being led by the Ministerial Task Force with funds directed through the Ministry of Finance. Minister Jordan said an initial $1 billion Guyana dollars or $5 million request is being considered by the World Bank, but more may be requested if the need arises.
The Islamic Development Bank, of which we are a member, they are also putting in place a facility, another kind of rapid response for their members, and hopefully once we get clearance on there, we will see what gaps remain after the World Bank's intervention. To see if we could get some funding from the Islamic Bank.
On March 20, the Inter-American Development Bank is set to host a Caribbean stakeholders Skype meeting. This will ascertain the possible economic impacts and how the bank can be of some assistance. Ghana's unique circumstances, given the impact of less economic activity and possible savings, could see more funds being shifted to the fight against the pandemic. The Natural Resource Fund, comprising some $55 million presently, has a provision for use in case of any natural emergencies, but this will require parliamentary approval. Minister of Public Security, the Honorable Kamrat Ramjajan, says stricter monitoring and screening measures have been implemented at the borders in wake of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic.
The Guyana Police Force, in collaboration with the Guyana Defense Force, were urged to be more proactive in monitoring communities in Regions 1 and 7, which share a border with Venezuela, in Region 9, which shares a border with Brazil, and Region 6, which shares the border with Suriname.
I have gotten reports whereby the backtrackers, of course it is illegal to begin with, but it is doubly more challenging now because of the coronavirus. But we have cases where I've heard that these backtrackers are using these boats that they always use to come across, bringing passengers from over Suriname into Guyana, and obviously also carrying them. What I've done is to speak to the Surinamese officials that they have to also do some more checking from the exit points that these boat owners would normally do. And what I've also instructed here in Guyana is that we must seize some of these boats, seize some of these engines that we have where Guyanese and their captains and so on arrest some of it, where they're doing this piece of mischief.
The Public Security Minister explained that people who are entering Guyana through these areas are to be screened by the port health authorities for the disease. Testing will also be done at Kurpukari to monitor persons leaving and entering Lethem and other parts of Region 9.
I must tell you that our borders are very porous. We have asked as best as possible our law enforcement and even the GDF become involved in ensuring that people just don't cross over like that. And even if they are, they should then come to the port health authorities, officials, to do a check.
He added that everyone has a role to play to control the spread of the disease in Guyana. Government has been implementing a number of measures to prevent and control COVID-19. For InfoHub, I am Kellon Rover reporting.
Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable David Patterson, is calling on commuters to take the necessary precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
In light of the novel coronavirus, the Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable David Patterson, has made an appeal to commuters to adhere to strict hygiene practices.
Drivers and owners of minibuses, I'd ask you to, at the end of the beginning of every day or the end of every shift, that you use some cleaning, sterilizing agents on the entire bus, and wipe the seats down and wipe all the surfaces and those things like that, because you also have a responsibility.
The minister also urged passengers to follow all necessary precautions to prevent the spread of the virus. In relation to state-operated transport, the minister said that all ferries and other types of government transportation are undergoing frequent sanitization.
From the government side, the government agencies like the transport and harbor boats and those things like that, we've taken extra precautions. We wash and sanitize more often, and those things like that. I mean, we've given protection gear, personal protection gear to our sailors and our crew persons.
So far, Guyana has recorded 5 cases of the infection, and the Ministry of Public Health is asking all Guyanese and visitors to practice social distancing, among other precautions, as well as to call the hotline if they have any of the symptoms. For InfoHub, Akishi Budi.
More news after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The medical staff of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation who tended to the first coronavirus case are said to have been monitored and doing well, as checks are continually being made to ensure their well-being. On Thursday afternoon, we got an update on their progress from the Director of Medical and Professional Services at that hospital, Dr. Fawcett Jeffrey.
So far, most of our staff have not shown any symptoms or signs of a flu. None of our staff has come down ill to the extent that there is a problem. There was someone earlier, very early after the incident occurred, that complained of feeling ill, but that person is feeling much better now. So luckily for us, it was not that bad. And I'm hoping that incidents like this never occurs again at the Georgetown Hospital with the surveillance system that we have put in place.
Dr. Jeffrey told InfoHub as the country's tertiary level of health care facility, the GPHC is prepared and ready with respect to COVID-19. He said measures were put in place since the initial outbreak in Wuhan, China last year.
COVID-19 was discovered somewhere near to the end of December, and we recognized that it was going to become epidemic and then probably pandemic. The Georgetown Hospital started putting measures in place. That is, we started a training process since then. So our QI department and some of the other medical departments like internal medicine started training.
The training included use of PPEs, personal protective equipment, correct way to use masks and gloves, how to sanitize your person and surroundings. The hospital has also set up checkpoints and triage centers for persons entering the institution from its various entrances. Dr. Jeffrey says the hospital has also identified an isolation area for critical patients who may need to be isolated.
We identified an area in the institution, and that area in the institution was identified and then prepared as an isolation area. The isolation area has enough beds to accommodate approximately 14 patients, but these patients will be patients who are critically ill that need ventilatory support.
Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
The Transport and Harbors Department is advising the public that there will be no midday Parika Supernam ferry service effective Friday, March 20, 2020 until further notice. The department regrets any inconvenience caused. As airlines around the world cut back on flights amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, JetBlue Airways has indicated that there will be a delay of its debut flight to Guyana.
This was revealed by Minister of Public Infrastructure Honorable David Patterson on Wednesday during a COVID-19 national update program aired on NCN. Originally set for April 2, 2020, JetBlue intended to take to the skies aboard its newly sourced A321neo aircraft for Georgetown International Airport with its crew and passengers from JFK, New York. Minister Patterson stated the major U.S. airline has postponed its inaugural flight to October 2020. On Tuesday, Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Lieutenant Colonel retired Edward Field, confirmed both of the country's major airports, the Georgetown International Airport and the Eugene F. Correa International Airport, will be closed to international flights as of midnight on March 18, 2020. This measure was taken to curb the spread of the COVID-19.
The Civil Aviation Authority, in order to slow the process of this virus and in consultation with the Ministry of Health, has decided to, with the approval of the Cabinet Task Force, to close their airports to all international flights, except for outgoing flights, cargo flights, medevac flights, or technical stops. These are aircraft which would require fuel and would make a technical stop to proceed onward to another destination. We've also made an exception for special authorized flights.
While local flights within the country to the various administrative regions will continue, the Public Infrastructure Minister said passengers should adhere to the health guidelines provided by the Ministry of Public Health to be protected from the virus. I'm Neola Damon, InfoHub.
The Mayor and City Council will be sanitizing all public spaces as the country steps up the ante in the fight against COVID-19. The council's plans were outlined at a press conference today. Here's your final report.
Mayor of Georgetown, His Worship Ubraj Narain, and several members of the City Council held an emergency press conference on Thursday to outline the measures being taken by the Council to tackle the spread of the coronavirus. Suzette Reynolds, Medical Officer and Head of the Public Health Department.
We are committing to provide mass sanitization of public spaces starting from the municipal buildings. Then we hope to extend this to the public spaces like the ministries of government, places in central Georgetown that persons congregate frequently. Our limitation, however, is the actual chemicals to do such.
Reynolds is urging persons who have chemicals such as bleach, formalin, J's fluid, and liquid Lysol to contact the council for assistance in spraying. Mayor Narain said there were other plans, however, there is a shortage of resources.
We had wanted to wash down the city streets, but contact the fire chief and he said they do not have that kind of measures or resource to move forward in that direction, because my plan was to wash down the city streets maybe once a week.
However, MNCC will receive assistance to wash the markets several times per week.
There are people out there who also got washroom renting to the public and all these things. We must pay attention to it. We must put system in place to have hand sanitizer, water, so that people can utilize after using the washroom or restroom.
Markets are under strict management while all activities have been suspended in several areas of the city. The mayor is urging all food businesses to be extra cautious when preparing food and handling animals. Mayor Narain is also calling for businesses to desist from raising prices for sanitation products and for commercial banks and lending agencies to be lenient with clients who have loans. Meanwhile, the Director of Solid Waste noted that solid waste collection is not affected and services will continue per schedule. However, he is urging commercial entities to keep their waste on their premises since staff rotation may result in a delay in pickup. Reporting for InfoHub, Natasha Smith.
That's all for today. Connect with us on our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Much more news is on our website, dpi.gov.gy. Your Bridge and Weather reports are up next. Goodbye for now.